Hi, I'm Nick Palmisciano, and this is the Bad News Network. In elect President Camacho news, an Ohio teen has defied his parents and become vaccinated. Ethan Lindenberger will testify Tuesday before a Senate Committee on Preventable Diseases. This year, at least 206 measles outbreaks have occurred. We know for certain that at least 178 of those cases have occurred with people that have never been vaccinated. Anti-vaccine arguments come in all shapes and sizes. Some believe vaccines are a government conspiracy. Others believe that vaccines cause autism, even though that's been disproven more times than your mom has, etc., etc. But one thing is certain, the leading cause of the anti-vaccine movement is pure stupidity. Modern medicine has helped remove some of the most lethal and debilitating diseases on the planet. But yeah, can't wait to go back to watching kids lose the ability to walk because mom read a couple of articles on Slate from a vegan yoga instructor, model/actress who thinks vaccines are bad. Forget the horde of doctors with years and years of schooling and experience and the hordes of evidence that show that vaccines work. Screw that. Go with your gut. President Trump and North Korea left the Vietnam summit on denuclearization very unsatisfied. The talks ended abruptly, with North Korea briefly putting out a message that put a very positive spin on the meeting, but after President Trump said, "Sometimes you just have to walk away," that changed. Apparently, the real breakdown came over President Trump's refusal to take down the movie Team America World Police.
You breaking my balls here, huh? You breaking my balls!
County law enforcement officials in at least 4 states have declared themselves Second Amendment sanctuaries in defiance of gun control legislation that they believe is unconstitutional. Interestingly, the same people that are very fond of this exact tactic when it comes to illegal immigration are not fond of this tactic when it comes to protecting a constitutional and natural right. Now it's considered a slap in the face to the will of the people. It's almost like, and give me a second here, people always see the best in their personal intentions, but when they look at the intentions of others, they always deem it to be nefarious. Or put another way, people are totally full of shit unless it suits their own desires. In embarrassing Trump news, the president aggressively attacked critics of his new proposal this week in an interview. When he was attacked for the financial repercussions of his endeavor, he responded with, "I don't care." He then carried on like a complete child and said, "You try, you do it, because you're not. So until you do it, I'm the boss. How about that?" Classic Trump, am I right? I'm sure the media is going to roast him all week about that nonsense. He sounds like a despot from a third world country. I'm just kidding. That was actually Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez responding to critics about her Green New Deal. In other Ocasio-Cortez news, her campaign is currently dealing with an FEC investigation alleging that she took $880,000 and illegally moved it from a PAC to a for-profit LLC. While conservative sites have pointed to this as a smoking gun that will probably result in jail time, the reality is a lot more gray. The issue is not that the money was dispersed illegally, even though it is considered to be extremely in poor taste and on the shady side to have the same people that control the for-profit and the non-profit essentially disperse money to themselves, but rather the characterization of the funds. The funds were tagged to be used for strategic consulting, and that is not what the funds were used for. So this whole thing will likely result in a fine of some kind. So to be clear, in this instance, she's doing normal rich people, politician shady shit and not outright fraud. Representative Omar is once again under fire for anti-Semitism after saying a bunch of anti-Semitic things. Her comments split the Democratic caucus, with the younger generation plus Bernie Sanders saying criticism of Israel is not necessarily anti-Semitism. To which Republicans replied, "Where was this line of thought during the so-called Muslim ban?" To which Democrats replied, "This is different." The second group, the more seasoned politicians of the Democratic Party, stated that her comments were inappropriate and anti-Semitic. However, she didn't understand the full import of what she was doing because she's new. She's 37. She's one presidential election younger than I am. She doesn't get the Ocasio-Cortez, "I have no idea what I'm doing because I've literally done nothing in my life" excuse. Republicans then asked for her to be removed from the Foreign Affairs Committee, to which Democrats replied, "Well, what about Steve King and all of his white supremacy comments?" To which Republicans replied, "We stripped him of all of his committees." To which Democrats replied, "This is different."
You keep using the word.
I don't think it means what you think it means.
In WTF news, a historic church in Ireland was broken into, and the head of an 800-year-old mummy was stolen. Thus far, there are no reported leads of who these vandals are. The church was quoted as saying, "That's not the way to get ahead. What would your mummy think about this?" I'm sorry, those were bad. The church actually hasn't said much yet, and the few responses they did have were cryptic. Okay, that was one too many. Don't get all wrapped up. In other totally normal news, an Indiana boy shot his state trooper dad this week after he was denied video game privileges. The kid was so mad that he spent the entire day at school planning it, then came home, waited for his dad to fall asleep, broke into his dad's squad car, retrieved the gun, tased the dog just for shits and giggles, and then walked into his dad's room and shot him in the ass. If that's not a serial killer in the making, I don't know what is. After recovering in the hospital, his dad, upon seeing him again for the first time, said, "You're grounded for a fortnight!" In Deutschland hat eine Gruppe namens der Traditionsverein den Weltrekord für eine große Gruppe als Schlumper verkleidete Menschen gebrochen. 2762 Schlümpfe tauchten in blauem Gesicht als Papa Schlumpf oder Frau Schlumpf verkleidet auf. Das hat das Deutsche Rekordinstitut bestätigt. Guinness hat die neuen Champions von Schlumpfgabe durch nicht verifiziert. In cold news, Oregon man Jeremy Taylor and his dog got stuck in the snow for 5 days, trapped in their vehicle. Jeremy revealed that he survived the entire 5-day ordeal living on nothing other than Taco Bell fire sauce packets. Upon hearing the story, Ranger students everywhere complained that at least Mr. Taylor got some sleep. In presidential news, Abraham Lincoln is back in the spotlight after a screenwriter tweeted a picture of a statue of a young shirtless Abe. The statue has actually resided there since 1939, but most people haven't seen it. This is a case of the internet doing what it does best, and I'd like to read the best comments so far from that Twitter feed. The separation of shirt and state. Emancipate them abs. The Gettysburg undress. Babraham Lincoln. Babe Lincoln. And honest abs. While in Iceland, a Texas grandma decided it'd be a good idea to pose for a picture on a small iceberg that was shaped like a throne. While Judith Strang was posing for the picture, the iceberg broke off and began to drift out to sea. The 77-year-old Princess Elsa was unable to get back to the shore of her own accord and had to be rescued by a boat captain. When asked by the captain if she was all right, she said, "Nothing major, but I have to admit my back is sore," to which the captain replied, "You should probably put some ice on it." In the saddest news of the week, longtime Jeopardy host Alex Trebek has announced that he was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Trebek stated, "Now normally the prognosis for this is not very encouraging, but I'm going to fight it and I'm going to keep working. We here at Ranger Up appreciate your dedication and hard work, and we are going to daily double down on prayers for you and your family." And the answer for $1,000 is, these people want Alex Trebek to beat cancer. And the question, who is everyone? And finally, in Florida news, a man attempted to board a plane this week with a rocket-propelled grenade launcher. This wasn't even in his checked baggage. This was his freaking carry-on. When TSA confiscated the RPG, which is a shock because they only catch 5% of this shit anyway, the man was appalled, screaming, "Is this even America anymore?" And with that, I'm Nick Palmisano, and this is the Bad News Network. Our news is at least as bad as the news you're getting already. Und du liebst mich nicht nur meiner Hunderstyle. Tschüss!